Hi everyone, I am Magnus and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with today's video. I'm going to be continuing with the first category of the basics, and I will be moving on to the second lesson, which is what are centering and grounding. Now, before I go ahead and explain all this, I just want to say that I'm going to do my best to simplify the definitions from my perspective, from my experiences and stuff. There are many ways to kind of explain this, I guess. Maybe there's a better way. I don't know. This is just the way that I take it. This is the way that I learned it, and so it's much easier for me. So this is the way that I'm going to explain it to you. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move on with centering. What is centering? Centering is essentially the collection of one's personal energy into a single point. Now, what that means is that, remember we've already discussed energy in a previous video. Most people know energy, a little bit about it. So what it is, we all have energy within us and kind of around us, like the aura, whatever that word is, the aura. I can't ever say it. Whatever that, it's around us. And so centering is taking that energy and bringing it through your fingertips, down your arms. It's taking it through the top of your head, all the way down, taking it from your toes, bringing it all the way up, and it's bringing it into a center point into your body. Most people, well, no, I don't want to say most because I don't know most people. I've learned that whenever it comes in, as you're bringing it in, it kind of comes into this line through your body. Now, that is actually your chakra line. You have different points throughout the part of your body that has, I guess, energy focus points, and those are chakras. And so for whether it's because of that or for some other reason, typically when that energy comes in, it goes along this line, and at some point you take that energy and you concentrate it into a ball or into a single point of somewhere. Now, for me personally, it kind of resonates in my abdomen. Now, some people it can be in their heart, some people in their throat, some people in their third eye. It just really depends per person. There are actual like healers and stuff out there, which by the way, this is pretty amazing. There are healers and stuff out there who do a form of centering, and instead of keeping that energy in the center of them or along that line somewhere else, they actually take that energy and bring it into their hands, and then they put their hands over top and heal. I mean, it is amazing work. Like, you could totally Google it, YouTube it, something that's pretty awesome. But so there's a couple of really good advantages in centering. Just again, my perspective, I think there's two main advantages in centering. One is that when you center and you bring that energy into you, right, you can actually take that energy and visualize. Now, I guess people can see it differently. I'm just going to say it from how I see energy. Some people see energy in lights and colors and sparkles and snowflakes and water, liquid, whatever. I mean, there's so many different ways people see this energy around them. You know, me personally, when that energy is building up, when I see that energy, it typically is a white light. Now, when I take this light, I feel it. I feel that energy, you know, with love or happiness or kindness or peace, you know, joy, something, some kind of emotion that lightens my mood. And then I'll release and I'll push that energy back through my body. And as I do, I can almost feel it tingling through my arms and my legs and my little bald scalp and stuff. And it feels like it's oozing that tarish residue negativity out of my body. So centering is really great for that. And a lot of people actually use that method or that kind of aspect of it when they're meditating, which I think is another great thing as well. But the second really good thing about centering is that when you're drawing in that energy and get it into that focal point, you can actually use that energy, see, I can't say my words again, to direct it into your workings. It helps you release that energy and focus it and point it and push it into something. So when you're working with your whatever kind of working you're getting ready to do, right, and you're getting ready to focus on it, you're getting ready to do it, you're getting ready, whatever preparations for it, you center and you bring in that energy, and then you push that into your workings, you push that into your intentions. It's fabulous. It's a great way to connect to yourself, to kind of help feel yourself out, I guess. I don't know, that might sound kind of weird the way I'm saying that, but anyway, it's a great way to kind of balance yourself energetically. That's kind of what I meant by feeling yourself out. You feel these energies about you. You can tell when you have off days and stuff, and so centering is a great way to kind of restore that balance in yourself. And then if you're actually going to do workings of some kind, centering is another great way to get that energy focused into a certain point to be able to release it and direct it and push it into your intentions. So I think I've repeated myself like 3 times on that. But anyway, moving on, which by the way, some people actually really do this just naturally. Some people probably have done it since they were kids and didn't even realize what they were doing. Maybe it's their way of going and just kind of relaxing real fast, and then it's just like, like they do it just naturally to them, Anyway, so moving on to grounding. What is grounding? Essentially, grounding is connecting one's energy to the Earth's energy. Okay? I do mean literally connecting your energy to the Earth. Now, the Earth's energy to me is very unique, and I don't know if anybody can validate this. I don't know if anybody can say that this is how they feel or agree or not, but the Earth's energy to me is kind of neutral. It doesn't have the same properties that like working with an Earth element might have, that has certain correspondences and stuff with it, but the Earth energy itself, to me, it's like a giant battery. It has no direct purpose other than helping the Earth live, so maybe a life force energy or something, but otherwise it doesn't really have any direct intent behind it, it doesn't have anything really corresponding with it. So grounding, when you go to connect with the Earth's energy, there are several different ways to go about it. One of the ways that I've done it, now I'm going to tell you a way that I did it before I knew what grounding was, before I knew anything about anything. This is what I did. This is how I knew that magic was, or witchcraft was my path, because I was already manifesting, grounding, centering, doing things like this before I even knew anything about the craft in any kind of aspect. So, pardon me, I would actually sit down outside somewhere, usually outside in the grass, and everything around me, I would absorb like these noises, these sounds. Like I wouldn't let one particular one distract me. It's like I would hear it, I would acknowledge it and validate that sound, but it wouldn't overpower my thought process. So I would sit down, and then I would take my hands and put my hands on the ground, and immediately I could feel like this pulsing sensation through my hands, up through my body, and I would push back with that same kind of sensation. And at one point I realized that I could feel, this may be a very strange way to explain it, but I felt like I had little roots or tentacles or something like reaching down through the ground, and like the earth had little roots and tentacles and stuff like reaching up through my hands. And it was fascinating to me because I could feel this connection that was going on, and I didn't feel overpowered by this energy. That's why I say I feel like it's neutral. It was very relaxing and calming, but then I could, at the same time, I could feel myself pulling that energy up, just solely pulling it up and like storing that energy, and would almost like hype me up in a way. And so, I guess as a kid, I was probably always hyper anyway, but that probably didn't help any. But as an adult, I figured, not necessarily as an adult, as a teenager, as I started learning my craft, I guess I can explain it that way. When I first started learning it and really getting into it and figuring out the terms grounding and what it was, and figured out that I had already been doing it. Most people do it, from what I understand, they do it standing up using their feet. So that's typically how I try to explain it to people. But some people can't do it that way. They don't quite have that same connection. They don't feel that connection for whatever reason. I usually suggest try it barefooted, just to help out a bit. Maybe that's because I just really like going barefooted everywhere. But anyway, so grounding, you can really do it several different ways. Now, the point is that whenever you do this connection to the earth, right, whenever you're digging down into the earth with your energy, whatever way you do it, with your hands, with your feet, the point is to get way down in there and to connect right to where you feel that energy. And then, instead of, just kind of chilling in that space, take and draw some of that energy up through you, draw up into you, and then vice versa. Take and push back down in there. Do this little cycle of almost like a breathing exercise, but it's with energy, and you can even try it while you're breathing. I think that's a really good concept. It's something that I have to do sometimes. I have to use breathing to help. Helps me kind of relax, and helps me, actually, I listen to my breath sometimes. That kind of helps me focus on it. Sounds can kind of help put you in a state of mind. So whether it's music or something that might help you, those delta wave sounds and stuff like that people play, things like that might help. Witchy tunes might help. Silence might help. That is my suggestion for anyone wanting to center or ground, would be somewhere silent, especially if you're in the beginnings and you're just practicing, you're just starting off. I definitely think that would be the best thing for you, just because it's easier to concentrate, easier to kind of focus a little bit, Now, if people have a problem visualizing stuff, I just want you to know, you don't have to visualize all the time. You will get better with it over time. But you can verbalize your intent. That is what I love to say. Verbalize your intent. Because whenever you can't always visualize it, imagine just sitting there and you're trying to picture this energy around you. You just can't. You just can't see it in your head for the life of you. But then you close your eyes, and then you tell it. You say it out loud. I'm drawing in this energy. I'm drawing in my energy. I'm drawing in my energy. You do whatever motion, whatever you feel you need, like to feel it, feel it coming down, feel it coming through your arms, feel it coming up your legs. Do it with your hands, verbalize the words, say it, whatever you need to do. Visualization is something that a lot of people struggle with for one reason or another. And so this is a great way to do it. Sometimes that visualization is something actually visible that you can see, something you can hear, something that you can touch, something that allows you to kind of connect to what it is you're trying to do. So when centering, some people are like, well, not centering, when grounding, some people are like, well, what if I'm up in a plane? What if I'm in a skyrise hotel or building or whatever? That doesn't really matter. What matters is your connection. So you can be way up in a freaking plane and still be able to connect yourself to the earth. You know, there's that energy still there. You're just thinking the distance because of the human perspective. From what our perspective of, wow, that's an extreme distance. Oh, that's so far. That's so long. It's going to take a long time. Energy doesn't work like that. Energy can be in like the blink of an eye. It can connect. Sometimes it might take a few moments. It might take an hour or so. You know, it just depends on the person, depends on the situation. Sometimes it's harder to connect to it when you're in those situations. But there's always ways to connect, to ground yourself, and even to center. And I think these two really coincide, like they move into one another. So you start off with centering. You start off with that first form of energy manipulation. And then once you get to where you can take that energy and move it back and forth through yourself and, you know, understand where it is and kind of control it and be able to make it come and go as well. And what I mean by come and go is like push it and relax it and kind of balance yourself out, or draw it back in and basically be ready to push it into a working. But the great thing about grounding is, so when you're centering and you use that energy for working, you're using your own personal energy. That can make you extremely tired, extremely exhausted. So when you ground yourself, and you're connecting to that earth's energy, you actually have basically a supply of energy right there to work with, that you don't have to constantly lose your own energy. So some people, actually, I'm kind of do something very similar. And most of the times that I practice, or not really when I practice, but when I do a little bit larger rituals or more in-depth workings, I will ground myself prior to the working, and maybe during the working, and then after the working. And this helps me sustain energy levels pretty much throughout. So that way, when I start and then when I end, I have the same amount of energy. I'm good and balanced out. Some people tend to have a little bit of extra residue, not just residue, extra energy lingering around. You can actually push that energy back down into the earth, you know. Don't hesitate. Just feel free to. You know, that energy, if it lingers around, you don't put it into something. Like I said earlier, with me, it kind of makes me antsy. It makes me like nervous and jittery and stuff. And so it makes me tingly, really tingly, like in certain places, like on my spine and my shoulders and stuff. Almost like somebody's back here, like touching, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies, you know. So I like to release the energy that excess energy that I build up. So when you're grounding, just know that there's multiple ways to do it. You can do it with your feet. Many people have the process of roots. That's what they imagine, that's what they think, that's what they put into it, like into their visualization, that roots are coming from their feet down into the ground or from their hands. You don't even have to use your hands or feet. You know, you may be able to use another part of your body, like, you know, for whatever reason, if you're unable to use your hands or feet, you know, I'm sure you could use just your body. Whatever part of your body can touch something, I'm sure you can find a way to connect to it. So don't let that hinder you. Figure out a way. There's always ways to work around it. That's what I really enjoy about the craft. Even though there's these things and it says it has like a definition of how to, but that how to is kind of the basic guide of how to. So like, even though I told you the definition of centering and I told you the definition of grounding, those definitions can kind of vary per person a bit, or at least I guess maybe the way I've explained them. And the process behind doing them definitely can vary per person, just there's so many different ways people can center themselves and ground themselves. So anyway, I hope that I haven't rambled way too awfully much or repeated myself like 10 times like I feel like I have. But I will be making another video coming up soon. I think I may have mentioned it. If not, the next video or two will be on visualizations and manipulation. manipulation. Oh man, do you hear me? I am trying to do some shiesty stuff. No, let me rephrase that, or let me re-say that. They will be on visualization and energy manipulation. That energy's got it coming, huh? So, anyway, I will be doing some videos on those coming up soon. I will say within the next week or so, next week or two tops. But until then, I hope everyone takes care of yourselves and stay safe, and know that I'm thinking about you. And I hope that this video was somewhat enlightening, somewhat informative for you. I hope that it can give you just a little bit of tidbit information that maybe you didn't know prior. If you did, go ahead and like the video. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will be sending, like I said, I will be doing videos at least one a week. They may be more than that. It just depends on the equipment and how it wants to work with me, because it is not the best. I do apologize for that. So anyway, thank you for sticking around and watching the video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything of that nature, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know. And I will talk to you all later. Remember, be kind, but don't take no shit.